What's happening, sports fans? Christian Pedersen, Colton, Toll. The intern is around here somewhere. She's going buck wild today. She's still hype off that Crawford interview from last night. Hamadi Sharif, we're still watching you. We want to see that music video drop ASAP. We're continuing our countdown to a Colton Toll knows something about dropping an album. He has an EP out right now that you can check out. The link is in his bio for that. We're continuing our countdown to the 2022 San Diego CIF section high school football season. This time we are focusing on wide receivers that we are looking at. This is not our rankings of the top, the bottom, or anything in between. This is just guys that we are hype about, guys we got questions about, teams that we are looking at, someone maybe who's going to rise to the top of that, because we got some loaded passing offenses this year. Colton, you were a former lineman. I guess once a lineman, always a lineman. So I'm sure you had a plenty interesting relationship with the wide receiver core, because you had to sacrifice your body, of course, on every single play, throwing out that last little bit of what's healthy of you to stop a defensive end for 0.2 of a second so your guys can complain about a DB being close to them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Colton, 6 of the 10 top passing offenses last year have returning quarterbacks. So I know that this is not necessarily starting with wide receivers, but it's starting with the guys that will be slinging it. Jax Leatherwood at Scripps Ranch, about the leader in everything. He's coming back. Dominic Nankill from Mater Dei Catholic. La Jolla Country Day has Garrett Basil-Pizio. Alexander Wojcik from Mar Vista is coming back. Julian Sain from Carlsbad, and Sam Cooper from University City. 6 of the 10 passing teams have senior quarterbacks coming back. Any of those teams you want to start with? Where do you want to get going on the wide receivers you're looking at, Colton?
Yeah, we could start with Country Day. He's returning. The quarterback and the number 1 receiver, Charlie Gooding, from last year, had over 970 yards, 12 scores. So they're going to keep their 1-2 punch over there. That's got to be an amazing feeling knowing you got that type of production from their junior year. And now they get an entire offseason. This might be their first full offseason since their freshman year, whenever COVID hit. So now they're going to be even more meshed together. And so they're going to have a whole offseason together and build off of that junior season they had together.
Knowing that at some point, Garrett will have to throw probably to somebody other than Charlie, out of boredom's sake. The others at Country Day that I'm looking for, Jaden Mangini and Gianno Casib. Apologies also, blanket apologies to everybody. The intern is chewing on my hand while I'm trying to get these names right off the teleprompter here. Say what's up, Kingsley. So Jaden Mangini and Gianno Casib, both sophomores who received significant targets last year. Not saying that one has to have the breakout year over the other, but that will be the other receivers that I'm watching on that Country Day offense to see who's going to maybe be the number 2 option, or if they can both have breakout years, and we'll get even distribution here. Next, let's go to Scripps Ranch, because you talk about a returning combo, Colton. There's almost nobody returning for Jax Leatherwood at Scripps Ranch in terms of his primary targets. Most of his receivers last year who received sounds redundant, but most of the receivers with the leading targets, seniors. What's going to happen there? Who are you looking at on that Scripps Ranch team as maybe someone that can step up, or who are you asking about?
Anyone that Jax Leatherwood's throwing to is going to have a breakout season. It's really just whoever takes that role. Obviously, with Connor Lawler graduating, Lawler was up in the state in terms of receiving yards, in terms of touchdowns. So whoever has to replace that is definitely in for a tough task. But you have an offense that Scripps has. You have a guy like Jax throwing. I think anyone can rise to that. And I mean, they're going to have talent. Scripps always produces some type of talent. They'll be able to throw some guys out there that replace that type of producer.
I don't think this is one made the other. Jax was made by his senior class, or that senior class was made by Jax, but it will be interesting to see, like you said, with Connor Lawler being a primary outlet target the whole time, if Jax tries to form that kind of a relationship with one of his receivers, or if it's a blank slate and we're going to see him just dishing it around. I'll throw this out as a receiver that I'm watching on Scripps Ranch, but I get that I'm also maybe smudging the lines of the rules a little bit. Reese Keeley, he was a running back last year he is a running back who was a junior last year, and he was the only one of 2 juniors to get 10 or more receptions. He is a running back. The other one was a tight end, Ethan Roche. But specifically Reese, I think that'll be interesting because sometimes running backs can be safety blankets early in seasons when you're figuring out an offense and you might not be entirely comfortable with that, that deep connection of, hey, I'm going to hit this. So you check down on a couple of good plays. He breaks loose. Could be an early season guy to watch for in terms of he has a great first couple of weeks if Jax needs to go to him, like I said, as that safety blanket. Another team that's loaded up on this list is Modern Day Catholic. We've talked about them basically in every single iteration of this show in terms of what we're previewing, but Jerry McClure is just one of, 53 dudes it feels like that have D1 offers on that receiving core. Who are you looking at for the Modern Day Catholic Crusaders that are going to be also Nate Nankill coming back?
Yeah, they're bringing back so many guys.
Or Dominic Nankill, I apologize.
Yeah. One of my big guys up there is Cruz Estrada up there. Big flow, big kid. He's very talented. I've seen him play in person. Super athletic. Him and Nankill have a really good connection. A lot of the defense is focusing to be on McClure. You have Saraz Buncombe over there. Cruz Estrada is going to fly under the radar, and he's going to have an insane season for sure.
I mean, yeah, great. Love it. Like you almost wonder at some point, is Verlaine ever going to run out of plays? But it seems like he never is. He literally
I wonder if they're going to sacrifice a lineman and just throw out 6 receivers on the field at one time. They have so many guys they could put out there. What are they going to come up with? They have Rollin George III, Jalen Hall, DJ Overstreet. You have so many guys to throw on the field.
What would that even look like? 6 receivers?
Like, how do you? It's crazy. Like, they have so many dudes to throw out.
Verlaine, if you're watching this, let us know at least hypothetically what you would draw up if you had 6 wide receivers. I would love to hear what he could come up with. That has to be one of the most loaded wide receiving cores in the last decade in San Diego high school football. I don't know if I ever really want to be like it's the best ever type of show, but that's one of the best.
They got 6, 7 guys they could throw out there that would start on any team in the county.
And from what I have seen physically, they're dudes. They're not like they're guys who are high school receivers or something like that. They are grown ass men out there physically handling business in the secondary. It's pretty impressive. Going down Carlsbad, the focus on Julian Sayin this year is huge. He is one of the top rated quarterbacks in the country, apparently. I don't say that disparagingly to him. I just say that it always feels a little weird when there's a San Diego team that has just national attention on our little slice of heaven down here. He has maybe kind of the same thing going on as Jax does, where he lost some of his signature senior receivers, but you got to assume that it's not going to be an issue for someone that highly rated to find a new rhythm and groove. Who on Carlsbad maybe are you looking at this year?
So he's actually going to get another senior who's transferring from St. Augustine, and Justin Johnson, who was on Saints last year. So Johnson's going to come in. He's going to him, and they also got Zach Marshall at tight end, obviously. So but saying you got some dudes transferring into that program. That's a program that obviously attracts a lot of people, and those guys are coming in. Saying he's not going to miss a beat with them. Johnson's going to have a crazy year. Only had about 500 yards last year for a little down year for Saints, but coming into a situation like that with Marshall and then Sayin throwing the rock could be insane.
Could be and should be and would be. You gotta assume that Coach Mack doesn't struggle with integrating a guy quickly, and it's not going to take a bunch of games to figure out what that offense needs to get done in order to achieve at a really high level. Alex Wojcik from Mar Vista, he was in studio with us. We encourage you to go check out that. They kind of gave a detailed invoice of everybody that's going to be an option and or weapon from them. They seem like they've got a lot of hype. Was there anybody specifically receiver-wise at Mar Vista that you had your eyes set on, Colton?
I know all their seniors that graduated. I'm not sure who's coming in. Nathaniel Ramos, is he coming back or is he? Oh, yeah, so Nathaniel Ramos is a guy over there. He's going to be a senior this year, obviously. Guy that they had what's his name last year? They had their number 1 receiver last year graduated, so Ramos is going to be able to step up into that role and take over for, what was his name? Who was that? Who do you have?
Well, I'm with you that this is another one where it seems like the senior graduation took
Thornton
a lot of
Mahan, that was his name.
yeah.
Graduating, he was super talented.
But with 2,800 passing yards, you gotta just tip your cap and assume that he's gonna come back for it this year. The last one that we have in terms of returning quarterbacks for the top 10 in passing last year is Sam Cooper and University City, and the guy there this year is the younger of the Grandforce brothers, Troy Grandforce.
I remember his brother.
What's that?
I remember his brother. I knew I recognized that name.
Yes, Casey Grandforce was an absolute legend of a tight end at University City. I think graduated 3 years ago. He was I want to say the last year pre-COVID or maybe the 2020 season. But his brother Troy, 10 touchdowns on 51 targets last year. So I don't know what that looks like in terms of I did not watch the film on every single touchdown, but you got to assume that with that high of a volume of targeting in the red zone as a junior, they're going to want to do more of that as a senior.
Even more as a senior year.
And they're going to want to force feed that. And Sam Cooper is one of the quarterbacks that we know absolutely can buy time with his feet, create pressure on the defense. So Troy's going to ultimately, I assume, be decently open this season, no matter who else University City's running out there on the offensive side. Outside of the top 10 of returning passing offenses, Colton, who are some other guys just around the county? Let's bing bong here. Back and forth. Give me a guy. I'll give you a guy, and let's see who else. Again, this is not the comprehensive entire list. This is just a first pass at it. Football is still a month away from pads. We're a month away from games, 2 weeks away from pads. If we forget or overlook any of you, we do apologize. Colton, fire away.
First off, I got both the receivers from Mission Bay coming back. Coming seniors, Jacob Sloan, Jack Ryan, over 1,400 combined yards last year. They had almost 30 touchdowns as a duo. Obviously, they're losing Osborne at quarterback, so you got to expect someone else to come in and fill that role because Osborne's been starting there for a while now. But you're returning your number 1 and number 2 receiver, so whichever quarterback steps into that role,
Jacob Sloan's going to be huge.
Yeah, he's gonna be insane. That's gonna be the quarterback safety blanket coming into that role, knowing you have big shoes to fill, but having those guys to throw to, it really does help a lot.
I want to talk about Reynold Thornton at Bishops. He looks like he's going to be the primary target as a senior this year for them. Bishops always seems to have a very fluid offense that some weeks they need running, some weeks they need passing, but no matter what, they get scoring and they get a lot of it. So look for him to be a huge touchdown target this year for the Bishops Knights and their offense. Colton.
Oslan Enriquez from Ramona. I've seen him play in person as well. Kid is fast. Kid is super athletic. He can find holes. He cuts well. He had over 400 yards last year, 7 scores, but super quick and athletic. He can get the ball and he can take it a long way because it's hard to tackle him.
I want to talk about Ty Olson, only a freshman last year for Del Norte, 8 touchdowns. Kid is quick. Kid is elusive. You got to assume no matter who they run out there at quarterback, he is going to be a huge part of their product this year for the Del Norte Nighthawks. So definitely somebody to watch. Colton.
Jake Jackson, Madison. Keeping with my Madison trend, 700 yards last year, 10 scores. He's going to be the guy.
You cannot get enough bandwagoning with Jake Jackson. I can't get it. We are officially a Jake Jackson stan account.
Jake Jackson stands over here.
Yes, hell yeah.
He's going to be insane. That's someone that is on my list to go out and watch this year.
He's somebody that you need to go watch just for the sake of he's going to go be a pro baseball player. So why not be able to say, yeah, I also saw him, catch. Yeah, see, even the intern once. You'll say like, oh yeah, that the third baseman right now for the Yankees. I saw him when he went for 17 catches for 3 touchdowns and 256 yards or something like that. Yeah. Gavin Mourinho out at Central Union. He's going to be a very productive wide receiver for them. He's their leading returning receiver from last year. He's going to be a senior this year. The Spartans tend to always put up pretty decent vertical passing numbers, and if he can get in a groove early, could be closing in on 1,000 yards this season. Colton.
Oh, Dante Scott, Bonita, down in the South Bay, a lot of great teams.
Just committed to Colorado State, right?
I believe so. Yeah. That's a lot of people get lost in there. Not many people know about that, but Dante Scott, super talented guy. He under the radar, like I said, but guy that could pop off for 700 plus yards. He's going to score the ball. He's going to be a focal point of that offense.
I'll talk about AJ Cornway Cornway out at Valhalla. Just based off of volume of Instagram replies, Valhalla seems to be the most confident team in the county this season. They want theirs in the comment section this year. But really, seriously, though, 71 targets last year or 71 receptions last year for 600 plus yards. You got to assume that doing that as a junior, again, that's something where you project that out to he could hit or at least close in on 1,000 yards this year if Valhalla uses him as the primary target. Colton, anyone else you got?
We'll go Joey Merritt out of Christian. Christian always seems to have dudes. Christian is one of those schools that will just have a guy every single year. And I think Joey Merritt coming off the 750-yard season, 8 scores, guy that's also just going to elevate his game. It's people don't realize when you become a junior to a senior, it's actually like you get so much better. It's like these guys put up these numbers as juniors, and becoming a senior with another offseason, it seriously elevates their game insanely.
Yes, agree. The difference between 15 and 18 years old is huge for bodies. Sometimes.
Like you develop so much.
Last guy that I got on my list, then I'll let you get to the rest of everyone you got, is Tate Reed at El Camino High School. Had to go down a little bit in terms of the overall production numbers to find some of these guys, but not everyone on this team is going to be a wide receiver one for a CIF championship. Some people are just going to have big years, and I think Tate Reed at El Camino, going to be a senior this year, going to be a big one. Colton, who else you got on your wide receivers to watch list?
Let's see.
You don't have to have anybody else. I think that we're plenty deep in terms of giving everyone a sample. So look, we'll close it out there. Then we'll say we will see you guys soon for, we still got to do tight ends. We still got to do defensive linemen, defensive front seven. I think we might even throw in a kickers one in there. So if you want to catch any of our other position breakdowns, you can find the rest of them on our YouTube at SD Prep Insider. Follow us at SD Prep Insider on Twitter, on Instagram. We are basically doing daily content now at this point. So something coming out every day until football gets here. Talk to you soon, sports fans.